Alrighty, and we are back with another Eliminator draft. Contrary to what I said yesterday, this will have to be a short stream. I got much busier than I expected to be today, so we will be doing the one Eliminator stream tonight. Hopefully, I'll be able to make up some of the difference with some streams on some of the nights this week, but I have to get a couple things done later tonight, so I want to make sure I keep myself having the time to do so. Oh, and I probably should, just to be in good form, use my promotional entry instead of $10. Not that it matters. I'll be doing plenty of these, but just good form to pick up the right thing to do, the one that doesn't expire, you know. Alrighty, we got this. Go and make sure that we sound reasonable. There we go. All good from that front. Gonna be waiting for 4 more people to join. 3 more people to join. It's been nice. I've done a couple of other drafts of the Superflex Frenchie, which I'm kind of hoping will be around after this. I might do that one as I go to bed. Actually, kind of want to see how many. Let me start last. So there's 5480, 5616. I've done my first one. I haven't done my second one yet. So hopefully doesn't get 100 people entering before this Eliminator finishes, because I might do that while I'm getting some other work done afterwards tonight, because I love a good Superflex contest. All right, while we're waiting though, I'll need to deal with that afterwards as well. Let's make some picks. I agree with Gino. We need a quarterback on this team. Brock Purdy is not going to hold down the fort on his own. And we have, who do we have? We have Omar Cooper. Yeah. So just saying, we need Gino, and grabbing him I think is very reasonable. Much like we're going to need some tight ends here. I mean, are we just done at running back and receiver? Gibbs, Love, Montgomery, Pollard, Mason. I mean, that's probably good enough at running back. Rice, Waddle, QJ, Pearsall, Hunter Cooper. We probably want one more receiver. Yeah, just grab some Dalton Schultz. Feels pretty good. All right, our final pick in this little Dalmatian 3-5-7-2 with Hurts, Mahomes, Mendoza. We're good there. Loveland and Kelsey, I agree. We're probably good there. Receivers are Rice, Makai Lemon, Myers, Higgins, Hunter, Boston, Wicks. Could probably use another receiver. And then running backs of Bajan, Love, Irving, Sampson, Lloyd. If I had, yeah, Kalani's not it. Like, thing I would want from running back is covering the week 11 bye, and this does not do that. So it could be Elijah Surratt, Cooper Kupp. I actually think this receiving room is like kind of juiceless. Let's go Surratt. Surratt could have juice. Like, theoretically, Surratt could have juice. But I don't know. Back up here. Kick says Stephon Diggs. Yeah. I think it's fine. Once again, I just want to say that these ranks are the leg up ranks from a couple of days ago. So if you're noticing me default to the sidekick over the ranks, it's not me not trusting my ranks. It's the ranks not being mine. So says we want Aaron Rodgers. I'm just gonna trust it there. And looks like we're in the Eliminator. We got the 3-hole. Obviously would prefer the 1 or the 2, but 3's fine. We can balance out some of this Jamar Chase exposure. Get that to be not 3%. Yeah, and I was listening to Pat and Shady earlier today, and I think Shady said something that I just really strongly agree with and want to say. Where it's like, especially in these formats, fades don't kill you. Your stands kill you. And I think that's why I'm partially okay having, the James Cook fade in the first round. But I'm trying not to have too big of a stand on anyone in the first round. I mean, GNT is the highest at 18%, and I kind of want to get that down. Running backs go. So we will happily take Jamar Chase here with our 3rd pick. Feels good. We don't have the Week 11 bye. We can diversify into hopefully some of the Week 11 bye receivers. That'll come back to us in the 2nd round and, be building a little bit of a more difficult team, but should be able to still work. I'm surprised that the Psychic has Taylor over McCaffrey consistently here. Taylor's another person that I'm going to have a bit of a fade on, which means my McCaffrey and my ARSB is probably going to be a little bit overweight. I'm starting to think that my 1-2 should be I should be splitting my 101s. In order to get the amount of Gibbs and Bijan I want in relative frequencies, I should probably be splitting my 101s 75-25 towards Bijan instead of the current 90-10. Just taking more Gibbs, a little bit more Gibbs at 101. Because, I mean, in theory, I'm going to have, 12 101s over the entirety of this contest. I think at the end, I want to have, instead of 10 Bijan, 2 Gibbs, more like 8 Bijan, 4 Gibbs, or 9 Bijan, 3 Gibbs. That feels more in line with how I feel about them, because I'm going to get some Gibbs at 2. Not a ton, but I do get some Gibbs at 2, and I want it to be like a 65-35 distribution between those 2 players in my exposure in a perfect world. Man, G&T falling to the 12. That's crazy. Take it, though. Certainly not a problem. We're more interested in seeing if Drake London or AJ Brown fall. Because I know those guys, I only have 5% London and 3% AJ Brown. Pretty big stand on George Pickens and Breece Hall. Really big stand on Hampton. That's one that I like. I like Hampton. We talk about this a lot. Hampton's good. Chargers' early schedule is great. It's really, I think, silly to be fading these receivers. Or sorry, these running backs with great profiles and good offenses that have good early schedules. Trey McBride at 18, that's a reach. Okay. I mean, hey, you want Cook and McBride. I get it. I guarantee you someone has a 1st-round pick and Cook and McBride, though. Because I've seen McBride be going in the 30s. So, okay, we get one of London or Bowers here. I think they're a clear tier above anyone else that I would take. All goes. I agree with the sidekick. I definitely think my rankings have it right where I'm I'd rather have Drake London. I'm second guessing this a little bit. I am a little bit worried about the Tua effect on Drake London. Drake London's not necessarily a Tua receiver. But Drake London's an every quarterback receiver because he's good. I think is how I need to be looking at it. Like he's just really, really good. And we get him in the second round. Like he's had, 150-yard, 3 touchdown games before. So we need to respect that. 302. My ranks say Javonte. Everything is screaming Javonte. Javonte's kind of my brand guy. So we'll go ahead and grab him. A little bit after ADP. Pickens was a consideration there with all that we've been talking about. The fades and being overexposed to players. Like Javonte's just someone I'm so confident on. Like Javonte is the same bet as Chase Brown. Javonte is the same bet as Kenneth Walker. Javonte is the same bet, possibly a better bet than Breece Hall. So like that's the sort of profile I am okay being a little bit over-indexed on. I don't like David Montgomery. I'm a little bit surprised that I have 0% of him. Flat 0. Or am I out on him? Like I'm only 3 picks behind ADP on him. Like it's not like I have this huge fade out on David Montgomery. But I guess there's just the right people and the right situation hasn't presented itself yet. That's a fade where I'm like, it'll correct itself. If we get to like 50 drafts and I haven't drafted him at all, maybe I'll adjust. But as of right now, that'll sort itself out. I think I might do at the end of the stream just like a little because I have a little bit more time than just doing a draft. I might do a little exposure, like some of my top exposed guys, some low exposed guys, and sort of talk through how intentional those are. Because not every time you have a player with high or low exposure is an intentional. Like this is my guy, I'm getting him. Sometimes it's just the drafts that you're in. Certain players continue to be values, and you just have to adjust accordingly. So nothing crazy going on. I think the craziest thing was McBride up to 18. But yeah, everything else is pretty in line. Like we're a little bit less running back scared, I guess, over here. Like the Lamb, Brown, Jefferson go a little bit earlier than usual. Actually not earlier than usual. Just G&T. Like the Cook being pulled up and then Taylor going ahead of Brown. Yeah, that's a late Brown, but there's just not really much you can do about it because after either G&T or Barkley, like after those first 13 picks, like maybe Henry sneaks in there, but after those guys, like all these guys are, getting drafted at various points. Well, I guess I'm not the only Montgomery bear. It's kind of hard to justify Montgomery on this team. Like he's good, but you don't really have to pick him. Garrett Wilson is fine. I could see Montgomery going to either of these next two people, and I think that would be pretty good. Ted. All right. Did I speak or David Montgomery into existence? I did not. Unfortunate. But I like Bucky. I think Bucky and David Montgomery relatively close. And I'm happy to get another Bucky Irving share. I would have liked the David Montgomery at 46. I think that would have been better, obviously, because he's a better player, and just to get a little bit more of him into my portfolio. But alas, we didn't get him. Lamar goes a little bit ahead EP at the 4-5 turn. This guy's gone 1-1-1-1. By ADP, it's Devontae Adams, so we get our pick here, who is Byshell Tootin. Yeah, this is a pretty good running back room, I think. Like you're getting the end of this like really solid upper tier, I think, in Bucky and Tootin. Like I think there's a pretty big difference between Tootin and your Travion Hendersons, your Jadarian Prices of the world. So I feel pretty happy Getting 3 of those running backs and then 2 elite alpha wide receivers in Chase and London with my first picks. Feels pretty good. Yeah, Trayvon's another guy that I'm like, it'd be nice to have a little bit of him, but your fades don't kill you. Your stands do. Yeah, so in knowledge of that, I think we may just go look at the players that we're super in on and just make sure that all of those are intentional. And I'm going to say super in on is we'll look at every player that we have more than 18% of, like 16 to 18%, depending on how exactly the decimals work themselves out. And just make sure that, like I can get 10% of someone incidentally. But if I'm getting, 20 plus percent of someone like Jalen Warren, I want to go, do I think this is a good pick? Do I think it's a good pick at cost? Why am I so in on this player through, 30 something drafts? I mean, this is coming off of a bigger figure because it's also counting my Frenchie eliminators in these ownership percentages or exposure percentages. That's what it's called. And some of these are, I'm actively working to correct them, and it's like maybe Tank Dell might be someone who's in that range where it's like, oh, I have a lot of Tank Dell, and I'm not taking any more Tank Dell probably the rest of the summer unless something happens. Like if I have 20% Tank Dell on 30 teams, that's what, like six Tank Dell teams. And if I end the summer with 6 Tank Dell teams for what would that be? Like 4 or 5% at the end of the summer, that's probably a perfectly fine amount of Tank Dell to have. Man, I was really liking this guy's drafts, and then he takes Neighbors. I mean, the more that we hear about Neighbors, if it's possible for him to be playing week 1, the more it's like, yeah, okay, Neighbors in the 5th is a good pick if he plays. I can absolutely agree with you on that. Marv here. I like Daniels. I'm excited to take Marv, which is really strange that I have him buried so much. Why is he behind Parker Washington? Who made these rankings? Is there any? I don't think there's any reason to take Chuba. Who made these rankings? Like, I like DK Metcalf, but he's someone who I'm like, 18% is probably my cap there. That I'm like, I don't really need to go higher than this. Do I want Burrow at the quarterback position? It is stacked. Having some like skinny stacks is generally good, even in this format. Just from a like season long thing. Like part of the Jamar Chase thesis of being good assumes that Joe Burrow is like healthy and able to throw the quarterback, able to throw the football. To some extent, Jamar Chase is good enough that he can still be good without Burrow. He's probably not going to be great. The other picks I'm looking at are Tyson, Mekhi Lemon, who I'm over indexed on, J.K. Dobbins, who I'm like right where I want to be indexed on. Yeah, let's just go ahead and grab Burrow. It's a value. He can really score with the top of the quarterbacks in the NFL, and he's correlated with Chase's outcomes. Yeah, I guess I'm just more like part of me being so out on Michael Wilson means I have to be more in on Marvin Harrison. And ranking him behind Parker Washington is just embarrassing. It's just embarrassing. So we're not going to do it. Marvin Harrison, come up to be in this Tyson Metcalf tier. Like having him fight with the league neighbors is funny, but I don't think that's correct. Like I would probably have him like just above Metcalf for right now. There we go. Yeah, what is Lemon's ADP? His ADP is 87.4. Marwick's at 79. I think I like Lemon, but I can't justify taking him ahead of ADP right now. Just with how this is gone. I also can't justify taking him behind QJ. So just, I think, dropping him down a little bit. I'm also going to drop down Josh Downs a little bit on the news that he might be, like, maybe just QJ. Like, QJ goes there, and then I can put Josh Downs and Mekhi Lemon in the middle of this quarterback tier, maybe. Like, yeah, like there. I don't know if it's news, but I wasn't really thinking through Keenan Allen landing spots, and if he's a good fit in the Colts, which he kind of is, I think that would be really bad for Downs and really good for Keenan Allen. If I don't have Keenan Allen ranked, I need to. 5 picks away, that's enough to like quickly look for Keenan Allen, and he is ranked somewhere. So that's all I really care about. He doesn't need to be high up. He just needs to be someone who I will look at occasionally. My ranks are saying time for another wide receiver. Psychic is saying time for a running back. I mean, it's going to be hard to talk me off of Jayden Reed here, I think. There's a pretty big gap between Jayden Reed and the rest of these guys. Like, if Jayden Reed goes, I think I'd be pretty happy going, okay, yeah, let's up my Corum exposure a little bit. Yeah. Let's up the Corum exposure. He's not that bad of a pick. He's like right around, like, we're getting a value on him. I don't really need to be taking him over Rashad White a lot, but occasionally when Rashad White's got the bye week overlap, we're worried about other stuff. Just tuck away a nice Blake Corum, couple of points a game and, random 2-touchdown game here and there with really strong contingent upside and be pretty happy about it. Now, I mean, I like Mahomes. Here, I am also considering Rashad White. Do we get to be done at running back after Rashad White? Yes. Do we have the right profiles if we take Rashad White? I think also yes. So I think we just take Rashad White and we're done. This is sort of what happens, what needs to happen for you to feel really confident in a running back room after going wide receiver, is to have a, 5 through 8, 5 through 9. Yeah, because I feel pretty confident in Williams, Irving, Corum in week 7, especially if we can dodge some receiver bye weeks that week. So the team as a whole can score a little bit higher. Yeah, this feels pretty good. I'm liking this so far. Definitely a bit of a value houndy team. We're getting, the value on Joe Burrow, the value on Blake Corum, players that I'm not necessarily super in on, but this draft is giving them to me at prices that are maybe not exactly where I want to take them. Like if I was in one draft, I don't know if I make either of those picks, but because I'm doing 150 of these, I'm looking at it and I'm like, these are the prices where I'm willing to take these players, and I need to take these players when I'm willing to take them. Because if I don't, then I'm just not going to get any of them. I'm never going to just like be happy to take these players. It's an interesting build. Very, very strong Jalen Hurts stack. Hurts to Devonta and Mekhi Lemon. Intriguing. See how that works out for him. I don't feel particularly strongly about that. I don't think that's necessarily a great one to do, but here we are. Jacoby Myers would not feel great. The whole week 7 thing that we were talking about earlier. He is significantly better than a lot of the other receivers in the range, so probably take him if he comes back to us. Somewhat unlikely he does. I will say I'm surprised that Kyler Murray's not like just in his usual place atop the Sims for the sidekick. Like, I'd probably take Mayfield over Kyler, just with the whole Bucky thing. Team level correlation being nice, and I don't really have any other week 10 buys. Whereas this week 6 buy, you know. Oh, that's why it doesn't like Kyler. It's because week 6 buy conflicts with Burrow's buy as well. Like, I knew I had some week 6 buys on the team. It's clear on where they are. Okay, so Myers may fall to us. Because these guys both have decent amounts of receivers. They aren't necessarily needing to take them. Mayfield goes. Mayfield was the main person that I would not take Myers for. Yeah, I mean, it's a profile we like. We gotta take it. Week 7 is going to be a little bit interesting. Not in a great way. Yeah, because this sort of like makes it so that, like, at least in my mind, Shakir is just like unclickable at this point. At least he's unclickable at the 11.3. If he makes it to the, 12.10, I'll take Khalil Shakir. Don't you worry. But here, I'm not going to be in on Shakir. I'm not going to be in on Rodriguez. Not in on Willis, obviously. The quarterback stuff. So then it goes to a tight end. I like having Javonte plus Ferguson. I feel like that feels better than Mark Andrews even. Like, I like Andrews. I think I've taken more of Andrews than Ferguson. But I think, yeah, this Javonte and Ferguson thing ends up working out pretty well. Yeah, like Daniel Jones is another one. I'm like, I have 20% Daniel Jones. Why do I have 20% Daniel Jones? Like, is this just a price thing? I mean, I do think that I like Daniel Jones at cost more than Cam Ward at cost. Which is a little bit strange why I have them ranked like that. Definitely like him more than Bryce Young, Rodgers, Mendoza. So I can see why he's there. I think if I remember correctly, I also had a lot of drafts where it's just like, yeah, I kind of have to take Jones here. He fell. It was just like structurally really good for the team. A couple of other things like that. Yeah. Actually surprised about like how many of the week 6 buy quarterbacks I like the price of. Another reason not to be super in on Mr. Joseph Burrow, I guess. Mark Andrews all the way down at 130. I mean, that feels nice. Feels less nice when you already have Tyler Warren and Kyle Pitts. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Yeah, I'm not sure that this is a team that I want Kincaid on. Again, the week 7 buy thing is there, and he profiles more to me as like a boom bust tight end with his route share. And there are definitely teams like I think that works really well as a second tight end with a Bowers, with a McBride, like a Loveland or a Warren. But if you're going for these like middling tight ends, I don't like that sort of profile seems less rewarded, at least in my mind. Also, 20% Geno is kind of funny. $50 of Rodgers, 13%, 20% of Geno for $52. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I kind of agree with the kick that we kind of just need a receiver here. Or sorry, by a receiver I mean a quarterback. Jesus Christ. What's this guy? McCaffrey, Brown, Henderson, Price, Mason, Rodriguez. Yeah, that's overkill at running back in my opinion. That is overkill. quote unquote, yeah. I think we snatch up Sam Darnold here. He's thrown for over 4,000 yards both of the past 2 seasons. Really good touchdowns. Especially 2 years ago. Like, Sam Darnold is just now proven himself to be a competent starter. And you got to appreciate that. I mean, we may even take Daniel Jones as well if he comes back to us. Omar Cooper's an example of someone who I have 38% of, and I'm really happy about it. Like, I think he may also be coming in on to this team. I think I have Daniel Jones above him, even on this, and I think for good reason. I want to make sure I have this week 6 and week 7 thing ironed out. And I think Daniel Jones is more likely to be contributing more in week 6 and week 7 than Omar Cooper. By that logic, I could also see Juwan Johnson. Like, maybe Jones or Johnson rather than Jones or Cooper for this team. But it doesn't matter. We just get Jones here. I want to just sit and make sure that I feel confident about that I need that. Yeah, I mean, we have 2 stud wide receivers. If we're not trusting them, why do we take them so high? And this running back room is designed to have running back hit the flex. A decent amount, at least. So we can use these picks on having a above average quarterback room, sort of having those expected points go higher than they otherwise would be. Like, instead of expecting, 15.6 points from our quarterback position, we can expect something more like, 18.6 from these guys, I think. With Daniel Jones's rushing ability, Joe Burrow's ability to just have, 4 touchdown games. That can be good. I mean, we do have to worry about, like, Burrow Chase dud games really will, like, mainly screw with our receivers. Like, just Chase dud games in general will do that, and it means that our top quarterback is not going to be strong, which means we need everyone else available, which is why we haven't been drafting week 6 bye players. But yeah, we're definitely done at quarterback. I would be shocked if we're not done at running back. So it's just receiver and tight end here. I was like, now this is a wide receiver room. This is a slappy right here. Holy, this is right wing slappy. Jonah Coleman, absolutely. Come on down. Munungai, Keaton Mitchell, Jonah Coleman, yeah. Egbuka, right wing slappy. Yeah, this is. Yeah, we know what's going on here. So it's looking like we're on a collision course with Dalton Schultz, which I think is fair. So it's do I prefer like, let's say I pick Hunter. Like, would I prefer Hunter and Daniel Jones or Rodgers and Omar Cooper? Like, it's not a 1-for-1 exactly, but because I'd be shocked if this guy doesn't take Rodgers here. I think it would be malpractice to not take Rodgers here. Geno's okay. To not take a quarterback here. Like, I can understand Geno. I disagree with it, but I can understand taking Geno there. Yeah, looks like we're on a crash course with Dalton Schultz, as we are in many of our drafts across a lot of different formats. Just because he's tight end on an offense we're expecting to be pretty darn decent. It's crazy that Travis Hunter and Deebo Samuel have very similar ADPs. I think I want to be more in on Travis Hunter in this format because Travis Hunter and Omar Cooper are going like pretty close to back in BBM style formats, which means people are telling me that they think Travis Hunter is less likely to have a role at the beginning of the season than a rookie wide receiver. Really, you think that Travis Hunter is more likely to be playing himself into time than a rookie on the Jets. Like, I don't know. I think Travis Hunter is more likely to just have his role be his role. Again, this week 7 bye thing is starting to get like if Cincinnati has a bad week in week 7, this could be worrying. Taking Jacoby and Travis Hunter also could be worrying. Like this really relies on probably Parker Washington just not being super involved in the Jags for both of them to hit. For one of them to hit, it could be the other one not hitting, or Parker Washington, or BTJ just, continues to have knee problems or something. But yeah, we definitely want a third tight end. So it'll be a 3-5-7-3 build. And I think this is going to be pretty comfortable. Pretty comfortable, pretty good. We need... It's weird, because I'm like, I don't feel like this receiver room is juiceless. I think Chase and London solve the juice problems at the receiver position. I think Tootin and Corum solve any possible juice issues at the running back slot, and we have 3 strong early guys. We have 3 really good quarterbacks, and then 2 solid tight ends, and we're going to add a third one. I mean, seems pretty simple. Just draft like this every draft, and it feels great. It feels great. You come out with a draft that you can be proud of. Okay, I don't know about that. I don't know about 33% Dontavian Wicks. I say that as my thought was, this looks like a Dontavian Wicks team. Because it really does. I mean, it looks like a Dontavian Wicks team. Like, more early season bet production. We didn't have Makai Lemon on the team. But, I don't know. Like, Wicks, 33% Wicks is too much. A 33% Wicks is too much Wicks. I don't even get the option to take him. It's probably a good thing. Dribbling is on the precipice of being too much, especially when Jeremy Bernard's right there. And I think Jeremy Bernard is just as good. This could be a good Jeremy Bernard team. Because we're not taking a running back. Pat Frymouth, I guess I do think Pat Frymouth is like kind of in a different league than the rest of the tight ends. Maybe we end up taking like Terrence Ferguson. I've ranked right around ADP. I think I need him to be ahead of Mike Gesicki. In general, on this team, I may prefer Mike Gesicki just because of the quarterback thing. Oh, and Ferguson goes. I think we do take Bernard. Where the heck do I have Bernard? Intriguing. Really, I have Zachariah Branch ahead of Jeremy Bernard? I'm not sure about that. I like Zachariah Branch. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think that's correct. Especially not on this team. Especially with the Drake London thing. Do not need Zachariah Branch as well. But, I don't know. Maybe I should have taken Gesicki there. So there's definitely more receivers that I'm okay with. I kind of am Gesicki or bust at tight end, third tight end here. Like I can take like a Tonjes, I guess, or a Kolar, I guess, but I'd really prefer Gesicki. Because despite one of my favorite chatters, one of my most frequent chatters being a big Eric All guy, I am not. I think he's interesting, but he's not my guy. It's also kind of hard. Turn down Deshaun Stripling here. I mean, that really solves our receiver issues. Stripling. Now we're going to take Gesicki. Gesicki, I think, is the disciplined. Strange enough to say the disciplined pick here. Like, this team is going to love it when T. Higgins has a concussion or something. This is like a monster team if T. Higgins has a concussion. and is out for a game. Yeah, like if T Higgins, I was gonna say if T Higgins has a concussion week 7, that seems reasonably unlikely given the fact that their bye week is the week before. If T Higgins gets a concussion at practice, I have other questions and concerns. I mean, the other thing is like Tyquan Thornton is also another person who's threatened by the Diggs Keenan Allen. What the heck is this? What? Huh? 4355. Are we doing another draft that possibly gets thrown out? I mean, this is like right on the edge of what I would be willing to say is throwing the draft. I mean, because the receivers are reasonable. Like Walker, Jones, and Braylon Allen at running back is like almost a crime. And taking 5 tight ends is absurd, obviously. Like even if you cranked your last 5 picks as tight ends, that would be absurd. Taking 5 in this manner is silly. The quarterback's the thing I have the least problem with, I think. All right, no, the receivers are the thing I have the least problem with. Like the receivers in a vacuum is just like a perfectly reasonable receiver room. 4 quarterbacks I can explain away. 3 running backs, I'm like, why is this happening? And to see that it is so that I can take TJ Hawkinson and Isaiah Likely on my team that already has Warren, Pitts, and Andrews is a bit ridiculous. But here we are. Humdy dummity dum, ba-dummity dummity dum. Ba-da-ba-da-ba, 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 ba-ba. Yeah, I think this is a Kevontae Turpin pick. We're already sort of in on the Cowboys. Kevontae is, a gadget player in that offense. People are so in on Ryan Flournoy. Maybe he gets his lunch eaten by Kevontae. But yeah, I feel pretty good about this team. We went Burrow, Darnold, and Jones at quarterback. Javonte, Bucky, Tootin, Corum, and White at running back. At receiver, we have Jamar Chase, Drake London, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jacoby Myers, and Travis Hunter from the Jags. Jeremy Menard and Kevontae Turpin. I would say this is like our weak position, but it's hard to call this weak when you have Jamar Chase and Drake London being stalwarts of that position. And then at tight end, we have Jake Ferguson, Dalton Schultz, and Mike Gesicki. And yeah, that feels like a pretty good draft. I mean, we are 32 eliminators in. We did that one yesterday. It was the 7-15 draft 4. And this is 7-16 draft 1. These are one day off, but I'm not super worried about it because it's when these drafts were done Eastern time. And I think when I'm going to be looking at these, they will be Eastern time. So let's look at our quarterbacks. Quarterbacks that we have over 16% exposure to are Kyler, Jones, Smith, Mayfield, and Dart. So rushing and later round quarterbacks. And then that means our quarterback exposures are pretty darn flat, I think. We have one Sanders team, one Burrow team, one Deshaun Watson team. That was our first Prescott team. We have a team with Justin Fields. What happened there? I'm not quite sure. I must have gotten really boxed out of quarterback. And a Caleb Williams team. Oh, I think that was early, right when the contest opened, I drafted, and it happened that I stumbled into a Justin Fields team. At quarterback, we have our boy Juwan Johnson and Dalton Schultz heading it up. Feels pretty good. And the only other quarterbacks we have over 2x are Frymouth and Warren. Yeah, I mean, this feels good. I probably want to get that Trey McBride number down a little bit, but pretty even exposures across the board. Where's my Bowers exposure? Only 4.8% powers. Probably want to drive that up a little bit. Otherwise, I feel pretty good about these tight end exposures. Running back. Yep, feel good about that. Javonte and Hampton being my two highest exposed running backs is just sort of a process thing. I believe that the Dallas and LA schedule early is really good, and I think that running backs are the offensive position that benefit most from that. So I want to be loading up on them. I think maybe not quite to the Javonte extent. I think I'd rather cap these guys at around where Hampton is, like 25% instead of in the 30s. But I also know that I've been getting a lot of influencer 101, 102, 103s where I'm more likely to be taking Javonte. So I don't think I need to adjust my rankings yet, but it is something to be keeping an eye on. Aaron Jones and Rashad White. I think we've had some bad news about Aaron Jones, so I want that number to be down. I'm okay with it being closer to like where I have Bucky and G&T at, but I think 23.8 is a bit high. Rashad White feels really good though. Quinshon Judkins, I stand by that. I stand by Warren. I stand by Dobbins. Even maybe want to pump those numbers up a little bit, and I stand by Bajan 100%. And Bucky. I think someone who I wish was higher is Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is okay, fine. I'm trying to keep him up there. Yeah, the George Fulani, McCaffrey, Pollard. A little bit high on Jeremiah Love, but I mean it's only 4 drafts. I have plenty of time to massage that. Yeah, that feels really good. And the receivers. Overall, who's my highest? It is Omar Cooper, and then Dontavian Wicks. It comes at number 3. My top 5 is Omar Cooper, Javonte, Wicks, Johnson, and Lemon, tied with Evans. But Lemon wins out due to entry fees, which is a little bit strange to have like 2 Philly receivers. Like we're betting on this Philly offense both being good again and passing more, which is cool. Yeah, I was not. I was in on Jarian Price in some of the pre-draft stuff, I believe. Let me check that, but I was not in on him as he was rising in the post-draft stuff. Like I don't know why, but I didn't evaluate that situation correctly. I think I was like not super in on him, but like reasonably in on him. Yeah, I mean, 14% exposure to me feels pretty good for pre-draft stuff. Like I wasn't over-indexed on anyone there. Like he's almost don't mind Trey Benson. But yeah, no, he's really good. Where do we go back? Yeah, I can tell you right now I have 0% Pickens because that was something I was talking about in during the draft. Is he's someone who I'm fine having. I'm fine being underexposed to Pickens. I'm not fine having 0% Pickens. I need to pick him a little bit. My Lamb exposure is also down at 2.4. I'm just not. I haven't really been in a position to be taking the Cowboys receivers. I want to take them. I even think I have Lamb ranked either right at or slightly above ADP. He's at 10.3, and I have him ranked at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I have him at 9. So it's a bit strange that I've only gotten him once. Let me sit back and make sure. Yeah, because I don't have anyone in front of him that is a significantly higher ADP. Like I don't have like Jefferson in front of him. So it's a little bit strange. But yeah, if we go back to these wide receiver thing, this is by far the most players that I have over double. I can chill on the Tyquan Thornton actually. I do not need 14% of a player who is not getting drafted in every draft. That's yeah. Let me go adjust my rankings on that actually a little bit. I can put this Tyquan Thornton stuff to rest. Oh, and I need to raise German Menard to be like there. Like Zachariah Branch, be like beneath Ted Hurst level, and I can nuke Tyquan Thornton from orbit. Like he can go, yeah, above Tank Dell. And Keenan Allen needs to rise up, I think. Great. Do 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 do. But yeah, looking from there up, like the 14.3 up. Nakua is a little bit surprising. I don't think I have strong stance. I just have been getting that spot a little bit much. Robinson, Watson, Collins, Waddle. These are all people I expect to be here. Concepcion, Ladd, I'm super in on Bernard and Adams. Metcalf, absolutely. Josh Downs, trying to get this down closer to like 14 instead of the 19, but Josh Downs is still someone I'm in on. I just hope that Keenan Allen doesn't sign there. Same with Romeo Dobbs. Yeah, I mean, I'm the only thing I'm worried about is this Wicks and Lemon super strong exposure here. I think that could be a little bit much. But Wicks is just free. Wicks is free, and Lemon's potential is so high. I think the big thing there is I need to start taking less Lemon. Like, I think I'm fine with my Wicks exposure being this high. I just need to tank Lemon a little bit for exposure reasons, not because I don't like. This is the thing that I can do because these ranks are pretty much just for me and not for anyone else. Is I can tank people for exposure reasons instead of thinking they're bad reasons. Go like, okay, I need to be taking less Lemon. I actually want to be taking less downs too. I've already moved these guys down. I'm going to move them down again because I didn't realize how much I really would prefer not to be taking them. But yeah, a nice about an hour-long stream today. I'm debating if I have enough energy to do another draft. I don't think so. Devontae Smith, it's low, 4.8. I'm happy with that. I don't want to be completely out on him, but like I don't think he's going to be a heliocentric wide receiver one, which is part of the reason why I think I am okay being super duper in on the other Philadelphia receivers, is because I don't think that Devonta Smith is capable of being a heliocentric one. I think he's threatened by, Lemon and Wicks. But if I remember correctly, you're also like really out on Lemon. So if you have like 24% Devonta Smith and I'm sure a lot of Dontavian Wicks, I'm more just saying that Lemon at cost I feel like is a better bet than Smith at cost. We can have like similar beliefs about the directionality of the Philadelphia stuff. Yeah, I think I've convinced myself. We're gonna do one more Eliminator if we can get it to fill reasonably quickly. And by fill reasonably quickly, it filled instantly. So we'll do one more tonight. We get the 1.5, which will be fun. Yeah, Devontae Smith's done well without AJ Brown. I don't know if that's because he hasn't had target competition in the way that I think that he will with Lemon and Wicks, or if that's because he's a good receiver that can be heliocentric when he's not next to a really strong, borderline generational. I mean, AJ Brown's not generational, but he's a really, really good receiver. If Lemon can be if the combination of Lemon and Wicks can be a really, really good receiver, are we sure that Devontae Smith carves out the same role that he does without AJ Brown, or is he just going to sort of be who he was with AJ Brown, which is a really good kind of guy, but not awesome? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But, oh darn it, didn't lock in my draft yet. Alas. Yep, sorry to snooze into these first 5 picks. Yeah, the JSN versus McCaffrey thing is, I think, always. It's funny. I think that McCaffrey will flip JSN by the time the contest closes, but also I don't need. I'm not trying to take a huge stand on JSN or McCaffrey. I think that I definitely of the people I'm out on. Like if I had to rank who I'm most to least in on in the first round, JSN would not be high on the list. JSN would probably be like 8th. Like of the people in the first round, I think the only people that I'm more out on than JSN would be definitely Taylor, definitely Cook. Probably Gibbs just by proxy of him not being my 101, and then it's probably JSN at 9th. Like he's probably the person I'm least in on, other than the people that I'm like actively taking stands on. Lemon as a rookie, 140 to 160 points. Well, let's take a look at like who would be like comparable to Lemon. Like entering an established offense as a number 2 as a reasonably high first round receiver. Like no one from last year's class I can really think of fits that bill. Oh, we're complaining about the noise again. I forgot to silence the sidekick. Thank you, mother. I'm trying to think of like if there's a good comparison from last year. I'm like, because Tech got drafted higher, was in like a sort of mid. I guess Igbokwe like could be like a similar comparison guy. Ended up with 160 points. Like, I don't see any reason that Makai Lemon can't do as well, if not better, than Igbokwe. I think their talent levels are pretty simple. Their talent levels are pretty similar in terms of their profile. Like Igbokwe ran hot on touchdowns, but I think Lemon has less competition in a better offense. So yeah, I think 140 to 160 is probably on the low end. Yeah, it's Bowers here. Took London over Bowers last time. This time it's Bowers ahead of London. The I don't want to deal with the week 11 bye stuff on this team. I want to have a nice, simple, easy easy draft here. Yeah, and I think I would say that's probably on the low end for my expectations for Lemon. I would say I'd probably put him in more the like one like obviously, and my range is going to be wider because I'm much less confident on how well he'd be. I'd say like 150 to 220 would be like most probable outcome range where I'd like put his medium projection at like mid 170s, like just on the edge of being a 1,000-yard receiver over the course of the year and a couple of touchdowns. Like probably more touchdowns than Igbokwe got, just because he's going to be in a better offense. Jesus Christ, David Montgomery at 25? What is going on? Absurdity. Okay, the sidekick will not bully me into taking 2 tight ends. I've seen that happen a couple times when I've been doing the little Dalmatians, that it had me take Bowers and McBride, which I thought was really funny. Unfortunately, one of those I auto-drafted, another tight end, which was not great. But it's a dollar draft, so I'm not super worried about it. It's a little bit uncomfortable here, especially if we don't get ETN. We get ETN. I think I'm happy pulling the trigger there. I mean the Kamara stuff is unfortunate, but I don't think Kamara's going to be more of a thorn in the side than Corum is going to be for Williams, and I think ETN's a better runner than Williams. Williams is going to be on a better offense, so I think they're pretty, yeah. Yeah, I guess 220 would be crazy. I forget how hard it is to score fantasy points. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's probably. But I could also, I mean, if he just steps into AJ Brown's role at the end of time, that could be possible, I guess. But yeah, definitely that's more of a tail outcome than maybe I was saying when I was just throwing out the numbers in my head. Probably closer to, yeah, like this Mike Evans season. Like, do we really think that's outside of Mekhi Lemons? Like right around 200 points, 10 touchdowns and a really good offense, right around 1,000 yards receiving. I think that's fully within Lemons' range of outcomes. Yeah, like even if Devonta Smith has that step forward, like it's entirely possible that Lemon just is good enough to step into the Devonta Smith role. Like, and I think Smith ran pretty cold on touchdowns last year. So, you know, do this, but add, 25 points for scoring, your expected amount of touchdowns. And that's where you get my enthusiasm for Mekhi Lemon coming from. Yeah. Not going to be able to take Scatabo here, more than likely. I would like to, but bye week's going to make that difficult. Life is going to make that difficult. Yeah. I mean, 30% Mike Evans is a lot. I think I need to maybe pump the brakes on taking him ahead of ADP. There's Judkins there. I'm a little bit worried about the running back room. I don't love ETN. So my mind is between Waddle and Bucky. I think I'm slightly more likely to get Bucky to come around, so I'm going to take Waddle. And I think if I get any of Bucky, Swift, Tootin, I'm happy. But I think there's a big difference between Tet or a reasonable difference between Tet and Waddle and McLaurin, Adams, Luther Burden. So, I mean, I'm definitely pushing it to get one of these running backs, especially when people went running back. I don't know. That seems unlikely. But, yeah, it's probably Teddy on Fetty is going to take Tootin and make me sad. It's my guess. And everyone else takes receivers. But maybe he doesn't hurt me. Maybe he takes Lamar. He's like, I want to be zero running back. He takes Lamar. He feels really good about it. He's got a great wide receiver room. You can take Colston Loveland. You can take Lamar. It'll be great. Let's go, Colston Loveland. So we just got to dodge this guy, snatching him, which seems pretty reasonable to dodge. Ah! Ah! Damn it. Yeah. I mean, it feels like it has to be Adams. Adams is just better than Watson. Lamar would mean, I did do the double onesies, which feels really bad in this format. We just have to take Adams. Damn. Damn. Yeah. Yeah, this running back room is gonna feel a little bit jank. And in return, I get Bowers. Who I love Bowers. Don't get me wrong. I love Bowers. Bowers is great. But this running back room is gonna be hell. I mean, maybe that was time to take Travion. I don't think so. I think Travion's overpriced. I don't need to be taking him above ADP just to get shares of him. I want to let him fall to me. I'd rather take a player that I think is going to be good in Devontae Adams, at least. And I'd rather have good players and have to figure out the structure puzzle later than be trying to figure out the structure puzzle early and end up with worse players and then flexibility to take different bad players later. I mean, if you're looking for 160 a little later, I'm trying to like actually think through this. Like Addison, I guess. Like maybe someone who I'm like, yeah, if I agree that the projection is 160, then I could see like an Addison getting there. But I think there's a pretty big drop off between that projection and your Pearsalls, your Robinsons, even your Alec Pierces and stuff. I just think my projection is a little bit higher, and I'm not as confident in these middle round receivers to be able to do anything. Like I'm not really in on Higgins. I'm not really in on Coker. Like I like Concepcion, but I think he's certainly going to be in a worse situation than Lemon. I'm not in on Golden. I'm not wanting to be super in on Shakir, but I kind of am. I'm in on these guys, but at very different price points. So it's a bit interesting. Man, these guys. Okay, this room is just thirsty for running backs. This room is absolutely thirsting it up for running backs, which is annoying. Yeah, we got to take Chuba Hubbard here. Like this is gonna test my prediction that Jonathan Brooks is nothing, but yeah, we just gotta rely on it with this insatiable thirst in this room. Yeah, I mean Pearsall's a good player. Don't get me wrong. Pearsall could absolutely. I don't think that's Pearsall's medium projection. I think that's the case for a lot of people in that range. Absolutely, they could. They run hot on touchdowns. Kittle is out for longer than expected. In Pearsall's specific case, like Kittle's out for longer than expected. Mike Evans, yearly hamstring injury is a bit longer than usual. Pearsall could absolutely do it. Yes, this is absolutely looking like a Holani team. 100%, I agree. It's also looking like a J.K. Dobbins team. I agree with the sidekick on that one. Or Rico Dowdle. It's looking like just give me running backs when I can get them, please, sort of team. What's funny is I don't think I'm taking a running back here. More than likely. I'm surprised that it's not in on Dowdle here. I guess I forget how much the sidekick can love Jalen Warren, but I think we got to take Jalen Hurts here. I mean, the amount that we talked about this Eagles offense being really good, tush push still being around. Give me a really good quarterback to start a premium. Like I'm gonna have a premium quarterback position. I'm gonna have a premium tight end position. I'm gonna have a probably pretty good wide receiver position, and I'm just gonna be praying at running back. And I've got two bets that are not awful, so I'm not setting up a prayer with nothing, with no chance. I just am gonna need things to fall right at the running back position, which is not where I always want to be in Eliminator, instead of needing it to fall right at receiver or tight end or something. We're back on the clock at 92. Which means we're going to be at the like Rashad White level of running backs most likely. Yeah, we don't get to take Reed. It may be Godwin. Lamau. Nope. It may be to quarterback. It may be to quarterback. We'll have to see what other people do. Happy to take RV. Happy that someone took RV. I'm not necessarily thinking that that's the bet I would have wanted to make here. Maybe this is a quorum team. Getting another quorum team would be interesting, but we don't get that chance. The running back thirst continues to drive people to madness. I mean, I think this is one of the thirstiest running back rooms I've been in a while. Like, it is just relentless. Through like 7 or 8 rounds, we have 3, 2, 1, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. That is a ton of running backs, it feels like. Yeah, Lemon and Reed go. Should definitely be looking at quarterback here, if it makes sense. I don't think it does. I think receivers obviously doesn't make sense. We'll grab Rashad White here. Top ranked running back. You know, we're just gonna have to hammer this hard. Because I'm like, my thought process with the quarterbacks is if I go Hurts, Dart, Hurts, Purdy, or Hurts, Mahomes, I'm still not super comfortable doing two quarterback. I don't think. Like if I'm rolling into the season with Hurts and Dart, that doesn't feel great. I don't think. Like I'm not loving it. So I'd rather just like punt my last 2 quarterbacks, but have 2. Like end up with like Bryce Young and Aaron Rodgers with Jalen Hurts. And then say I'm gonna take 1 tight end in the middle. Like this would be a great Dalton Kincaid team, I think. That seems more like the strategy here. Although, I mean, if no one's taking the quarterbacks, it's difficult for me. Hey, we got a guy ranked 175 up here. ADP. Yeah, no one's taking any of the quarterbacks. I don't think Worthy's right. I definitely don't think Brooks is right. Mason, I think. I think Mason's fine. Don't think I need Wandale. Mason feels pretty good. I mean, we're reaching for him, 100%. But I don't think people are reacting to the Jones versus Mason news enough here. Like I think Jones and Mason going like pretty much back to back is probably correct in my mind. So we're now at a point where I'm not going to be afraid of this running back room. Like we tack on 2 more later and it'll be fine. And you know, if I get a good quarterback follower to me, maybe I still end up with 2 quarterback. Like if I get a good like price on Kyler Murray, maybe I do Hurts Murray, and then if I have a great Mendoza team, maybe I grab him, but I don't feel like I need to. Maybe it's the thought process there, but definitely doing 2 tight end. That's gonna feel really good. I mean I've been liking my 2 quarterbacks. I wish I could like know for sure how much 2 quarterback I've been doing because I've been doing a lot of 2 quarterback with Jaden Daniels, with Lamar because I've been pretty high on Lamar. Is there anyone else I really draft in the upper rounds? I don't think so. Not a ton of it, at least. Yeah, other people are looking at just an absolute shit ton of quarterbacks too. This guy's, I guarantee you, is taking me too many receivers. Yeah, I don't know what this guy's doing. This is too much receiver firepower. This guy needs to take Jonathan Brooks. Desperately needs to take Jonathan Brooks. I think Jonathan Brooks is a terrible pick from a value perspective, but structurally he just needs Jonathan Brooks there. This guy probably doesn't want a quarterback. So we're looking at these two guys. Josh Allen guys may take a quarterback, but I doubt it. This guy may take a quarterback. He also might take Dobbs. Would be my hope. Let's see. This guy timed out on Dobbs. Okay. Yeah, I don't think we want another running back here. Really not in love with my quote-unquote wide receiver options between Golden and Shakir. So it's looking pretty likely we end up with takes Tyler Shuck. Why? What in the... Great. I'll take Kyler Murray. Absolutely. Windmill slam. I mean, we get the Kyler Murray and Jordan Mason paired together. That feels great. Directional bet on Minnesota offense. Yeah, now I'm like, I can do two quarterback with these guys. I would be uncomfortable, but I can do that. Sure. Great. I really didn't think I was going to get this combo. That feels really nice. Yeah. Crafts. I don't really like Kraft. I don't like Sutton. I don't like DJ Moore. No one likes DJ Moore. I don't like Josh Allen at cost. I don't like Jonathan Taylor. Like, he's just... We have different ways of looking at the game of fantasy football, evidently. By my ranks, Mayfield. My ranks, it's kind of a tight end here. Don't really love Ferguson here. Concepcion's my first wide receiver, but I cannot abide those bye weeks. Yeah, let's grab Jake Ferguson and say maybe we're done with those two at tight end. Like I don't know. I 3 week 11 buys as our in our first 4 wide receivers picked seems a bit much. Although not picking a receiver to counter that is maybe not the smartest play. But I don't know. Yeah, and Baker Mayfield as the third quarterback here is just absurd, I think. Absolutely absurd. Yeah, that's ridiculous. I think a third tight end here would also be absurd. So we're looking at people in this. Yeah, we'll probably end up with like an Omar Cooper or Trey Tucker. Could also be good. But yeah, it's getting a little uncomfortable at wide receiver, which is surprising. But I guess it's where we're at. I mean, if Concepcion comes back to me, sure, I'll take him at 140. But I'd much rather you get a slight fall on Diggs. Roll the dice for him being on, Kansas City or Indianapolis or whatever. I think I'd much prefer that. This guy's already got 3 quarterbacks. He's got Lamar, Mahomes. He just couldn't resist the Baker Mayfield slide. Fair enough, I guess. This guy's not taking any more wide receivers, let me tell you. He better not be, at least. And this is also a great team for Coker with the Chuba Hubbard thing, I think. So, yeah. Darn. Coker goes to a good home, I hope. to a home that is really relying on Ashton Jeanty and Trey Stroud to be good running backs. Woody Marks goes. Who would I take if I was this guy? Not a quarterback. Chig was not the answer. I guarantee you Chig was nowhere on my radar. Goddard goes. Psychic says Algier. I think I'm going to take Diggs. I mean, Diggs signs. He skyrockets up. So why do we... I take Diggs and now it's like, oh, you really need receivers? Like, what is going... Mr. Sidekick. Yeah, I agree. I love a good Diggs here. And don't get me wrong, I think Algier may be a reasonable pick. But not yet. I think if Algier comes back to me, I think pretty reasonable to... Actually, I don't know. This is not really a wide receiver room that needs Algier. Like, I think Mason's more of a really early season play. Hubbard's more of an early season play. White's more of an early season play. ETN, it's a little bit more later season because, as we expect, the Kamara fall off. So, I don't know if I actually think that Algier is like really the right running back for this, even if I am looking for a fifth running back here at this spot instead of taking two even later. Yeah. It's definitely between Cooper and Algier for me. I think I do lean Cooper. Now he's gone. Algier's here. I have to like decide between him and Travis Hunter. I can probably get Travis Hunter on the way back. Like, do I want to try getting Jennings and Travis Hunter? No, because I really do believe in Jordan Addison to be a good wide receiver too. So we're going to take Algier, be done at running back. This is going to be a really good running back room the first, 8 weeks of the season. But I could definitely see it falling off. I'm definitely a little bit aren't you scared about that. But I don't think I get to deploy any more capital there. Just like I feel like that way at tight end. And to some extent, I feel that way about QB. Maybe we end up with a third one. So this is either going to be 2 or 3 quarterbacks, 5 running backs, 2 tight ends, and then either 8 or 9 receivers. And we're just going to be hammering receivers in these rounds. Which is gonna be fun. Get to draft some nice fun guys. And it's crazy getting to draft just hammer receivers after getting, a nice first round wide receiver and 2, really good second, bucket receivers in Waddle and Adams. It's just taking Bowers and Ferguson just makes it feel really comfortable. And we've gotten to like sneak in a bunch of just like clearly a starting running back. I think clearly a starting running back. 2 guys that are like 1A, 1B sort of guys, and a guy here who is very clearly, like 2A, I guess. I don't think he's really splitting the 2 role with Benson or Connor very much. And I think in the literal like first 2 or 3 weeks of the season, he may be able to keep Love, not like at bay, but like steal some valuable stuff from Love, which could be useful. This guy's 3 tight ends already. McBride, Laporta, Kelsey. That's a lot of capital deployed at tight end. That is a lot of capital deployed at tight end. You can see it pretty clearly. I mean, thin receiver room and a thin running back room. Doesn't feel great. I mean, don't I know it? Don't I know a thin receiver room and a thin running back room doesn't feel great. Ryan Flournoy goes. I think we're just going to be adding to the addiction here. Absolutely. Travis Hunter is going to get eased back in to practice, I think. Yeah. But we'll snatch him. Here. Obviously, AD Mitchell would be great if he comes back. This is where I have to take Mendoza. If I want Mendoza. That's expensive. Is there another quarterback after him? That's like fine. Like I could take Tua. This is like kind of screaming Tua. Like I could absolutely see Tua on this team. I could see Jacoby Brissett at the right price on this team, like a last round Jacoby Brissett. I could see, but I don't think he's gonna last that long. Even though people are getting woke to the idea that he's not really a great player or a great pick, I don't think he's lasting to the last round. So we got Barner, we got Gunnar Helm. This tight end's coming off. Darn. AJ Mitchell goes. AD Mitchell goes. Not in love with Calvin Ridley here. Let me tell you. Not really in love with any of the receivers here. Like Jerry Jeudy would be my first pick, but he's got the week 11 bye. This is a Wicks team. This is like absolutely a Wicks team. It feels a little bit early to pick him. I think I don't need quarterback. Maybe it is just Jeudy, even though like I'm just also super not in on Ridley. Let's just grab Jeudy. Yeah, I'm just super not in on Ridley. The more I go through the season, I think the more I'm like Carnell Tate's going to be good enough to have a starting role week 1. Wando Robinson's going to have a starting role week 1. And I thought that Wicks had a decent chance of coming back to us. That was part of the reason why I passed on him. Maybe not from this direction, but yeah, I would have liked Wicks closer to ADP, but we don't get him, so that's fine. And like last year, it was like very clear that he was ahead of Manor and Jameer DK. Like with Jameer DK, like maybe coming on a little bit later. So, like, I don't know. It's the same thing as Mike Wilson. You know, a third target on a bad offense doesn't feel great. I will say this is about where I would price him. You know, in the 170s to 180s. But I'm less sure that Ridley's going to be a good target on a bad offense, or going to be like clearly the third target. I think it's certainly possible he gets mogged. Bernard seems reasonable here. Like Bernard is dribbling. Like they should be pretty close to full go by week 11, which is like the real time I'm going to need them. It's also a reason why I'm like, even though Halani is like pretty reasonable here with his running back room, I don't really want him because right now I'm really trying to fill week 11 production. Because it's very likely that my receiver room is going to have a dud week 11. Mendoza could help week 11. Like a big Mendoza Bowers week could help. I'm going to do that. I think getting the third quarterback here feels pretty good, especially past ADP. And we've also sort of signaled that we're not taking a 6th running back. So we can definitely go to 8 receivers. Just make sure none of them are week 11 buys. I mean, very likely we get one of Stribling, Bernard, Hurst here. All of which I think, start to project really well in that, after their bye sort of time. So, I mean, if we can get 2 of those guys, 2 between those guys and Allen, that would feel really great, I think. That would feel really, really nice. Tua goes. So we're definitely getting one of Bernard Stribling. Like, obviously, I think Stribling's better, and we get him. I was going to take Bernard if he fell to us, just to, balance exposures a little bit. And because we've been talking about him a little bit, but we take Stribling here. It is kind of sad seeing Holani not get taken. This guy should take Holani, I think. I think this guy should take Holani. He takes Gasecki. This guy does not need Holani. This guy does not need Holani. This guy needs to take tight ends. Has not taken a tight end through 17 rounds. What the heck? Does this guy forget that the tight end position exists? What's he got? Willis, Stroud, Gino. Like, and his running backs are a little bit rough. That's what happens when you take 8 running backs. He should have been done at 7. What is he doing? What's his best tight end? Top ranked tight end he can get is Colby Parkinson. Yeah, this guy's donezo. Does this guy want George Holani? Not really. It's an absolute disaster if George Holani makes it back to us and we're like sitting there like, oh boy, do I take George Holani? Do I just accept that week 11 maybe this team's like ceiling? Or like that I need a absolute nuke from Bowers Mendoza and great running back performances week 11 to make it through? No, this guy Joe's Holani. In a running back room with Price. Goes Holani with Price. I don't know about that. Especially in the Eliminator. I'm not sure about that. But hey, you do you. You do you, boo. Yeah, it says Christian Kirk. I don't know about that. Cooper Kupp. I can see Pat Bryant. Jalen Knoll. Yeah. Elijah Surratt. Perfectly reasonable. My poison of choice would be Keenan Allen, probably followed by Knoll, followed by Surratt. So we're taking one of these 3 guys. Yeah. Booty was not anywhere near what I was thinking about. This guy's also probably looking at receiver. Malachi Fields. Sure. We will be taking Keenan Allen in the last round of this Eliminator. I really do want to like bump up this Keenan Allen exposure because like not even going crazy with it. Just like a nice, get it up to a nice 7 or 8%. Like be overweight on him. Because obviously if he signs somewhere, he's just going to. Yeah. I mean, have people really ran stats for double RB in the Eliminator format? I would be surprised if that's true. I think it can work really well for, BBM style contests. I don't think it's great for this style. But if people have ran stats to show double RB in the Eliminator format, I would love to look at it. Because I would love to see people like doing deep dives into data, around this format. Because I think people overestimate how much can translate over from other formats. But yeah, we got 2 drafts in tonight. I'm definitely signing out after this one because I am wiped. So we'll quickly name the team, go through it, and then I will be off. 7/16 draft 2. So, went 3 quarterbacks with Hurts, Kyler Murray, and Fernando Mendoza. At the running back position, we got Travis Etienne Jr., we got Chuba Hubbard, Rashad White, Jordan Mason, Tyler Algier. Definitely a little bit thin there. At receiver, we got Jackson Smith-Njigba, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, Travis Hunter, Jerry Jeudy, Dejon Stribling, and Keenan Allen. That could either be really thin or a strength of the team, depending on what happens with Diggs and Allen. And then at tight end, we got Brock Bowers and Jake Ferguson. Just a nice, solid tight end room. And I think, again, pretty good draft. Feel pretty happy with that. So with that, we'll be saying good night. I will definitely be back sometime on Saturday, and I'm hoping to stream again before then. If I do, I will put it out on Twitter. So thank you very much for showing up, guys. I will see you later.